Hello everyone, welcome to yet another sword video. This is going to be a basic sword video on sword maintenance, removing rust, burrs, and general scuffs and dents from weapons. You're going to need a few basic things. Sandpaper of different grits, 120, 400, 600, 800, 1000, 2000, it doesn't matter. A sanding block is a benefit, definitely not required. These abrasive pads are really awesome. I'll show you why. You'll need files for deburring. Any file will do. They don't have to be special. They can be super cheap. Paper towel for cleaning. Alcohol of any cheap type for cleaning. And oil. Mineral oil, 3-in-1, gun oil. Anything you can get your hands on will work. I like 3-in-1 because it's super cheap. And you can pick this up at any hardware store. Okay, so it may not show up very well on the camera, but as you can see, this one I haven't used for a while, and it's picking up quite a bit of rust. So there's a few methods, which are all pretty basic when using sandpaper. The key things to note when using sandpaper is it is abrasive and it will mark up the steel itself. So the general method is keep your motions going in the same direction. That way you'll keep a grain going down your weapon. If you start trying to swirl or you start going back and forth, you're going to start getting scrape marks going in opposite directions. You'll start getting swirl marks and it's just going to start looking like crap. The next method is, depending on what type of finish you want, keep in mind these will create bigger scuff grain marks. That meaning a 120. The more abrasive it is, the more scuff marks it will create on the blade itself. So depending on what you want, you may not want to start with a 120, you may want to start with an 800. If you want your blade to look really good, because, you know, like me, I don't really care. I just like getting the rust off it and the burrs off it. If you want your sword to shine a little bit more and look slightly polished, the method would be to start with a grain somewhere around 400 and then start moving up to an 800, then a 1000 and a 2000, and eventually you'll get a semi-polished look to your weapon. Like I've mentioned, I don't really care about those things. I just wanted to have a general clean look to it. These are really good because on something like this crossguard that's got a few little bends in it, a piece of sandpaper will work, but the more you wrap it around, more likely it's going to tear, whereas this won't tear at all. And these things are super cheap. I've had these things for 3 years. You can pick them up anywhere for under $5. These you can wrap around and you can get into nooks and crannies and go around circular edges with them, and they work really well. And they're super awesome for pommels because you can just wrap it around the pommel and squeeze. And now already you can see how shiny that's getting. That didn't take very long. In the end, if this is all you got, these will work just fine. These will clean your sword and polish your sword quite well. The one thing that they don't do as well as sandpaper is actually refine the edge and take down dents and burrs. Now, talking about burrs, when you have a sword like this, with use, you probably won't be able to see it, but this sword is very, very dented. I used this sword for about 3 years. It's a dark wood sword. I'll probably do a review on it. It's a very good weapon, very durable. What you want to do is you'll run your hand along it, or by accident you might run it along someone's arm and all of a sudden they get a little cut, even though it's not a sharp weapon. That's because it's got some burrs on it. So when you find the burrs, take any file, you'll want to change your angles on it, and you'll want to go down the edge and just sand it. Right there, you can actually hear the burrs on that part. And now, you can even hear it with your ear, it's sounding smoother. But it's very simple. That's actually completely smooth now. That's all it took. Very quick, doesn't take much maintenance at all to keep your blade burr free. This block here, once again, as I mentioned, it's not necessary, but if you put your sandpaper on it, attach it to your block, for a sword with a wider blade, it can act, it can give you more torque on the blade itself when you're going down, and it speeds up the process just a little bit. So like I say, it's not necessary because you can use your hands. It's not a big deal, but I find on bigger swords, especially if you're doing multiple ones at the same time, using that little block can speed things up. For a weapon like this, which is one of my main weapons, this is my fetter, my Regine. As you can see, it's got a little bit of a darker, what would be the word, patina to it. I don't polish my practice weapons up because I use them all the time. My actual functional sharp weapons I like to keep nice and shiny, but these ones on the other hand, I just like to keep them deburred, make sure there's no rust on them, and that usually keeps me pretty happy. Another little maintenance tip on these is when you get a new weapon, I highly suggest using hockey tape over top of whatever's on your handle. So in this case, it comes with string. The hockey tape on top, you look there, my handle was hit. It acts as a little bit of protection to whatever you have on there. It'll act as a shock absorber and it won't cut up anything that's on there. Plus you can take it on and off pretty easily, and it's cheap. So like 2 rolls last me over a year. I highly suggest it for keeping maintenance. At first it's a little sticky when you get it on there, but after a little bit of use, the stickiness comes off. So you just have to use it for about a few hours and then it gets quite smooth. That's about it for sword maintenance. It's very simple, but maintenance go a long ways with a weapon. It'll make them last longer. They look good. And for a weapon like this, even this one that's got the cup right here, which requires a little bit more work, I can still get this done in under 10 minutes. And 10 minutes goes a long way with a weapon, and the general durability and the length of time it will treat you well. If you do have any questions, post them below and I'll answer. If you have any suggestions, post those as well. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe and like this video. I plan on making a lot more videos, reviews of different practice weapons, and soon reviews of my sharps. So if I can get more followers and more likes, the more of these videos I'll make, and I might start making some cutting review videos of my sharp weapons. So please subscribe and like the video, and thanks for watching.